What an asshole!
Podcasting from Bass Hole Studios in Hollywood, California.
Yo, what time is it?
You're listening to I'm a Bass Hole with Doug Bass. We've all been one.
He's an asshole.
So let's laugh about it. Now, here's your host, Doug Bass.
Hey, what's up, Bass Holes? Welcome to the Bass Hole Podcast. Thanks for joining us. As always, make sure you follow the show on Instagram at Bass Hole Show. Go to the YouTube channel for the full video experience. Download, subscribe, wherever you get your podcast fix. Text your friends about the podcast. Do me a favor. Just text your mom right now and let her know what you're listening to. Share it with your family. We got a great show today. I'm really excited to have our guest in the studio today. Comedian, actress, podcaster. She does it all. Maxi Witrak is here, and we're going to jump right into the episode because she is here. And let's go. Hey, Maxi, how are you?
What's up, Doug? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming in.
It's a great setup.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we try here at the makeshift studio we have.
I've seen a lot of makeshift studios, and honestly,
Yeah?
I shouldn't be so surprised. But it's like I've seen all of our friends come up from leveling up even their equipment in
Right.
addition to their stand-up, and it's kind of impressive to me to be like, I remember when you were just like doing this on your phone in the dark.
Exactly. Yeah. Like every year, I try to step. And we may even move to like a little studio space at some point. So
Have your living room back.
I know it is a tough thing of like cleaning everything up, taking this down, putting my dogs in the room, all this stuff. So you do what you got to do. I mean, it is what it is. Thanks for being here. You are a stand-up comedian, as we know, an actress, podcaster, right? I mean, you do everything pretty much.
Just like we all do, a little bit of everything.
You have to
Diversify.
Right? Yeah, you have to. Now, how long have you been doing stand-up?
I think it's now like 9 years.
9 years. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Very cool. And we got the opportunity to do the Boom Chicago Festival in Amsterdam this past summer, which was super fun.
I love that you clarify Amsterdam because people will still say Chicago, and you're like, no, I
mean,
just said Amsterdam.
I know they must get that a lot, like a lot
Yeah.
of confusion. I don't know. But you've done it like 4 times or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're like a regular there.
I've been so lucky. They keep letting me come back, and it's
awesome.
just like this year was the best year though because you were there. Just so many friends
were a lot of
got to
people
do
there,
it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it was like we don't even see each other that much
No.
here in LA.
I know.
We have to go on the road to see each
I
other.
know it's funny, yeah. And then you see everyone in the a different country, and you're like, oh, okay. Just it felt like we were in LA, but like in a time warp, like a different location, obviously. But it was weird. It was like, oh, here's everyone. Everyone's here. It's cool. I had fun at the festival. I thought it was cool. We brought the show there. It was cool. There were like a couple things I was like, I don't know, like last minute like situations and stuff like that, shuffling around.
Right. Where you got stuck in a smaller room, but it actually turned out good because then you were like packed.
We were like in the attic, and I was like, I didn't even know that room had existed until like an hour before the show, and I was like, oh, what? And I was like, this is where we're okay, all right. I was like,
They loved it though. I mean, I'm sorry that you didn't get to the festival until later in the week, but it's kind of nice being the stand-up minority there because then I guess the con is that you get a little less consideration in like the room bookings, but the pros, like the pressure's off. We just get to have a good time.
Yeah, and it was like because I'm like I don't know what sales are going to be like. This is the first time doing an international version of the show or whatever. And originally it was in the main room, and then I saw the main room on a Saturday night. I was like, "Oh, looks great," but it's like huge.
It's like hundreds of people.
Yeah, and I'm like, is that many people coming to this? I don't know. Like they would have put us in here for a reason, maybe. But and then I saw the medium room where we watched the show and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this room would be perfect." And then she's like, well, this is the one that's not available.
We were like Goldilocksing our way from big to medium to small.
It's like, this one's just right, but it's not available. I was like, all right.
perfect.
And then it was like Anne Frank's attic. It was like, I was like, all right.
You're not the first person who got in there. It was like, there's an obvious joke here.
But it worked out. I was happy with how it went. We packed that room and everyone had fun. And it wouldn't have been as fun in the main room with that many people and stuff.
Agreed.
So I'm glad we did it. Are you going to go back again this year, you think?
I don't know. I'm trying, a couple years ago, I was trying to draw a hard line on the business of comedy and be like, no, you're only going to go places that pay you, make it worth your while. And now I'm like, you know what? That day may never come completely where I can stick to that. And if I'm enjoying myself and basically paying for my vacation,
right?
Sure.
It's an excuse to do stand up.
Yeah.
I would go back and do my show there again. I don't know if I would do it at the festival again because there's no way to make money really,
right?
And then it costs a shitload to go there and all this stuff. And after meeting a few people there, I was like, I could probably set this up somewhere else in town or whatever and do it. And of course I would do stand up at the festival, but
it turns out it's just like anywhere else. You get a venue, you ticket it yourself, you produce it, and it's like it can be done, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it can be done, but it's a lot of work. And we just had a show last night, so I'm still like,
I saw. How was that?
It was great. It was crazy. It's we've been having like porn stars as like judges and stuff lately, so it takes on like a different life when that happens. So depending on who we have on it, like judging, it's always different. It's always crazy.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted from it. I was just like, it's a circus.
Yeah.
But it went pretty well though. I was happy with it. So as an actress, you've been on some shows. How did you start acting as a kid or like a teen, a young adult?
No.
When did you get the acting bug?
You know what? I'd wanted to try forever because I thought the theater kids at school were so cool, and obviously not. But I was like, I want to give each other back rubs in a circle.
I was a theater kid growing up.
Were you?
Yeah.
What?
I started as an actor.
Like you studied theater?
I majored in theater in college.
No.
Yeah.
No. I was like in a sketch group as a side thing and took like one acting class, and then I went to get out of school, and everyone was doing these consulting jobs, and it was like, you're 22. Who's taking your advice? Like,
it's like looking back now, I was like, I don't know why I majored in theater. I'm like, I acted as like a kid. Like I would go into New York for auditions and stuff here and there, and then did some commercials and stuff. But like the plays in high school, I always liked doing those. And then I like filmmaking. So I was like, oh, this seems nice. I also minored in film. So I was like, I want to study that stuff. But then when you get out, like finding a job in that is like, unless you become a professor teaching it or something, the degree doesn't make any sense.
Totally. And I even got my master's in acting because I was like, I'll be smart. And if I need something to lean on, I can teach it. And it's like,
but you can teach it now if you want to.
I could, but like that's just the same as any other like gig where you're just like, this is killing me. It's not really like high level enough to support me, and it's just like
it's crazy. And then like and one thing I always found interesting studying theater in college is that they don't prepare you at all for like what we do here, in LA or Hollywood, New York or whatever. It's like that's what they should be teaching. Like there should be like a whole year on that, like the business of like how to get an agent, like what to do. And now it's even crazier with like TikTok, like that should be incorporated somehow, like sketches or whatever. I don't know. Like it's a whole, like that's how people make it, It's like you have a degree in theater, like it doesn't mean shit.
Like I always hated when people were like, no, do the marketing stuff with regards to comedy, like do the clips and then worry about getting good enough. And as much as I hate that idea, like the acting is kind of the same way. It's like, oh, sure, you could have gone the whole time and like, sorry, I'm word vomit because I'm so angry about this being the way it has to be. But it's like you can learn to act at any point. You will get better at acting or stand up or whatever your thing is. But if they don't know you exist, what's the point of being here? Right,
exactly. Yeah, and it's I don't know. Like it's like I look back and I'm like I had fun doing the plays and stuff, but it's like. I was like, it wasn't a waste of time, but like, I was like, I should have gotten a degree in something that I could make money doing or whatever, I don't know.
We chose this lifestyle, even if it's not necessarily acting. I think we committed ourselves to a way of being that I'm not mad about.
Right. And my parents were always like, yeah, go ahead, study it. Like they were supportive of like, my decision or whatever. But I wish they were like, well, you might want to have a minor in
That's nice of them not to do the "I told you so" because they never did tell you so.
No, they didn't. Yeah, they're still supportive of everything. But any job you get now, it's like, oh, okay, thank God I booked an acting job, or thankfully, like 2 jobs. I'm like, all right, there's a degree.
It's lottery system now. It's like, oh, great, if I win the lotto by booking an acting job a year, that's considered a good success rate.
Right. It's hard. It's hard.
man.
So you've been on like stuff like The Bold and the Beautiful. Shrinking, you're on that show?
Shrinking, I'm finally allowed to say,
wow.
I think, because it's coming out this week.
Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't watched it yet, but it's on my list. Yeah.
Oh, I friggin' love the show, and it's a Bill Lawrence show, and I grew up like...
That's Scrubs, right?
Scrubs, exactly.
Scrubs, I love Scrubs.
Right?
Yeah.
And remember all the late night like reruns and everything, and those would keep me company late at night as a kid. So like it's been my unspoken dream forever to be on a Bill Lawrence show. And I'm like, check.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Congrats on that. I love that. And you do podcasting as well, don't you?
I don't have my own. I had a partnership with an online radio app for a little while, and I was doing interviews with friends, just trying to pass along the opportunity a little bit.
What is this Train Tracks I found?
Oh my God, you did a deep dive.
I try to prepare a little bit.
If I had known you back then, I would have had you on. Train Tracks was my idea to do comedy on the LA subway.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. Yeah.
It was wild, like... because I had to find comedians who were willing to look a little bit foolish doing it, because there's kind of no winning. But if you go in with the right attitude, some people did get a lot of like people liking them and enjoying it, and it was just kind of a reaction to, this was pre-pandemic when everyone would just blame the room or blame the audience or blame the environment. The mic's not good, the kitchen's being loud, and I kind of felt like I was a newbie comedian, and I was like, God, I get that those are real factors that can affect your set, but if you're blaming it all the time, maybe it's you.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah.
I got comics that proved like a good comedian can do it wherever.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. Like, I love that kind of like experimental, like like a talk show or like comedy, like in public places that's not normal or whatever. So like the LA subway, which is like the worst subway in the country, I think.
We feared for our safety.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, like this stuff makes sense in like New York. Like there's always like street performers or musicians or whatever. So like when you do it here, I'm sure it was like people were like, what is going on? Even though it's Hollywood or whatever, but like, yeah, it's like such a daring like move, and I love that you did that. It's
Thanks.
Cool. Yeah. Would you bring that back? Would you go back on the trains?
You know, I don't know. I'm starting to, I hate saying this, but like now I'm in my 30s, and the pandemic lined up with like this rough hurling out of my 20s, where I think there are things in my 20s I'd be more willing to try doing, whereas now I guess I'm more like fearful of the consequences or aware of the consequences, whereas my 20s I was like, I'm an unknown, fuck it. In my 30s I'm still an unknown, but I feel like there's some more backlash if things go wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 43, so like
really?
I'm in the
no
era.
fucking way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the era of like where I don't give a fuck anymore. Like my confidence is like where I wish it was when I was like 25 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? Because as you get older, you're like, I don't care, like whatever. There's no time to, double think things or second guess it or whatever. So that comes with age. But
give me some.
Now you're also in a band, Mick and Maxie. Is that correct?
Yeah, we. I don't want to say we broke up, but we.
Well, I always think
took a pause that never ended.
All right. But that's, I mean, no, that's, I mean, the band always gets back together or whatever, but you're a drummer. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. It was something I always wanted to try. I was training really hard with horses when I was a kid. And so all the things like the childhood dreams I had
like
of
equestrian stuff.
Yeah. So I love that you go with the lesser known name for it and I dumb it down.
Well, I have that on here too. I was like, oh, you're a horse girl. All right, let's talk about that.
So like the acting, the everything I wanted to try, including drumming, had to wait till I was an adult. So in early 20s, I started taking drum lessons, and my teacher was awesome because he actually took me seriously, because I was like, I have this shy little dream to be able to play on stage in a real band and record. And he was like, yeah, let's get you there. And it wasn't... It just, he made it not seem so far off and impossible.
When did you start taking like drum lessons?
I was probably like 25 or so.
Okay. That's something I've always wanted to do. I don't play an instrument, but it would be either the drums or piano or keyboard or whatever.
Oh yeah. I highly recommend lessons, because like obviously they're expensive, but it's like there's so much free information on the internet and great people who can teach, but wading through it. Man,
I have a keyboard under my bed that's just been sitting there collecting dust, and I'm like, I gotta pull that out and set it up, and then just like
I gave mine away.
Take some YouTube video lessons or something. Start with that, and then like maybe explore something else or whatever.
Yeah, but the clearer the path, the less obstacles. Even pulling it out from under your bed, I had to change my self-tape setup because I was like, even setting it up makes me want to decline this audition.
Yeah. Oh man, the self-tapes are horrible now.
Right?
I can't stand it. I don't know.
Do you do a lot now?
No, because I don't. I mean, I was doing commercials like a lot before pandemic and stuff, but like, I don't want to do them anymore. I'm just like, I don't have the passion to do like commercial auditions, like self-tape. Like, I don't know. Like it's lost its luster for me a little bit. I don't even know if they watch them.
Right.
Like, you're not in a room with a director or a casting. It's like I have no one to read with. I have to record the line on like my computer and play it and then time it. It's too much. It's like what are we doing? Can we just go back in the room? What's going on?
I sort of feel that way, and then sometimes I'm like, I'm so glad I could do this on my time.
Yeah, but at the same time, I can complain the other way, where like you'd have to drive to Santa Monica at 5 o'clock for something, and then it's like you're in the car for 3 hours, and it's like this is also a waste of time.
I felt like that about voiceover auditions. I can't tell how many people are like, oh, do voiceover, do voiceover.
Well, I just started getting into that because people have always been like, oh, I like your voice, whatever, and then I got a reel done a couple of years ago, and then now I've been doing. I have an agent doing auditions or whatever. And
have you gotten anything?
I haven't got anything. No. I got a couple like we're looking at this or you're on hold or whatever, But like no, I haven't got anything. It's very hard, but I don't mind doing those because I literally sit here and I like play with the copy, just do it. I don't have to care about what I look like or what I'm wearing or I don't know. I like it. I do like 10 of them in a row and I just send them in and I forget about them, So I don't know. There's something about that. It's much easier.
Totally. I just think of like the little things that creep up in your time, just the way like a coffee and your budget starts to add up and like those 10 minutes per voice audition. I'm like, if they're going into the ether and giving me nothing, I got to cut something out.
No, there's some I don't do. I'm never going to book this, so I'm not going to waste my time.
Good.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, though. You have to start thinking like that, though. It's crazy because your time is money,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're also you perform regularly at the Improv all the time. You're at Flappers too.
I'm at Flappers sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Do you travel and do comedy? Like
I do a lot of festivals and I feature when I can.
Amsterdam, obviously. Yeah. That's cool. I actually want to go on the road more, but it's difficult.
What makes you want to go and what stops you from it? I'm curious.
I think, what stops me, I think, is having 3 dogs and, like a job and, it's just like, it's hard to pick up and just leave. And I'm not in that position where it's like, I got to get this covered and that covered. And so it's like a pain in the ass.
Totally.
Really. So when I go away, it's like, it's a big deal where I'm like, okay, got this covered.
A lot of arranging to do.
Yeah, it's like I'm going down to Newport Beach Thursday to do a show, but I'm staying the night there. But it's like I got to coordinate all this shit for 20 hours just to be out of the city or whatever.
So what makes it worth it to you about being on the road that makes you do that amount of work for?
I think like if I can bring my show on the road, which I've done a couple times and I'm starting to do a little bit more, I think that makes it worth it for me because it's like, it's my show, it's the branding, it's getting the awareness out there about the podcast, the show, getting more of an audience in different parts of the country, that kind of thing. So I think that makes it worth it for me. If I'm just, I don't know, like if I'm just going out and doing stand up at like random bars and trying to get gigs and stuff like that, I feel like if I was younger, that's what I would have done, obviously. But like now, I'm like, I don't know. Like unless I had nothing, that like no responsibility and like didn't have to worry about making money or whatever. Like then I would do that. But like the show is more important to me now, I think.
Yeah. I'm so happy to hear you say that because sometimes I feel like a crazy person when I look at something as making no sense and everyone else is like, no, you just got to do it for the sake of doing it. Like you have to get out and like do that random bar show in the middle of nowhere that you paid $300 to fly to. And it's like, I could do that at a random bar here that no one sees me and make something out of. Like, to me, that makes no sense. Like, once you're past the point of like, I just got to get road miles underneath me and the experience, it's like, it's got to start serving you and not just taking.
And you think of yourself as a performer, like whatever past experience you've had as like an actor or whatever. Or like, I used to do like sketch and improvisation with groundlings and stuff like that. So it's like, I think about all that stuff and it's like, okay, like be smart about it. Like, does it make sense financially? One is like there going to be 10 people there. when it doesn't matter, and you could have done this somewhere, like for the sake of going to Ohio or some shit. It's like, it's far, so it's like you don't want to kill yourself. Like I know people that are doing like, they'll go all the way to like some place and it's like, oh, there's 15 people there, and they fly back the same night. I'm like, fuck that. Like it's too much.
Yeah, there was an opportunity this week actually that if I had said yes to, it would have really fucked my week. And I was looking at it just like, I could say yes, but like at some point it's just not worth it. And so I said, I gotta pass. But
yeah. So when you were playing the drums, I would think like, did you, I mean, they're noisy, right? Like how do you practice that shit in an apartment or whatever?
Oh, yeah. I even, when I was in an apartment, I had, I live 5 minutes from Amherst, North Hollywood. So I could go there and for $10 an hour, just practice my heart out.
So they have a place where
cheap.
you can go and just use someone's set or whatever.
Because I tried to do one of those, what are they called? Electronic kits.
Oh, yeah.
And they're so unsatisfying. Like I get that they fill a need, but like
I've played with those at a Guitar Center. Like I've gone in there and like fucked around.
They're fun, but nothing beats the real kit just for the fun.
I know they have like silencers, right? Like you can put on like the cymbals and stuff.
You can muffle the sound. Right. Put a pillow in your bass drum, but like even the electronic kick, my kick drum, the thud would like get the neighbors mad. So I was like, I can't do this.
I know, it's tough. It's a tough instrument to like practice, especially like you just get the feeling like at midnight you're like, I'm gonna do some, it's like I can't do it.
Yeah, and playing at shows, you have to carry all your shit with you.
Yeah,
it just sucks.
That was the thing. Every time I see like a band like set up at like where you played at like the Whiskey A Go Go or whatever. It's like they have a band come on, they set up all their personal music stuff, right? Yeah. Sometimes they have a house drum kit or
house drum kit, and even then you're still probably putting in your bass pedal, your snare drum, your cymbals. If you're really particular, cymbal stands.
So it's like, and the band does maybe like 4 or 5 songs, and then the next one comes in, they gotta set up all their other shit. It's like Christ, man.
It looks so uncool.
It's like, can't we just leave like the house? I don't know. I get it. Everyone has their instruments and stuff, but there's some things I'm like, just leave it. Like a drum kit. I don't know. It just seems like a pain in the ass.
Totally.
But that's a lot. Yeah. Now, so you're also, you were talking about the equestrian or the horse. How did you get into that? Did you ever own a horse?
Yeah. Growing up, do you know what 4-H is? Napoleon Dynamite was like FFA.
Club.
Yeah.
I used to see the commercials for that. Where are you
really?
From? Where are you from again?
Seattle.
Okay. Yeah. There was, I remember they had commercials for that, like on TV, like as a kid. I just saw it. Yeah. I mean, I never did 4-H, but I knew what it was. Yeah.
I think my mom got me into it because we lived in a very like spoiled town, and it got us to like hang out with normal kids and like I don't know, like work hard for our accomplishments. Get us out in nature, and I'm so grateful she did that because I wasn't like asking for a horse or anything, but we started doing that, and then eventually moved on to more like competitive level shows. And
did you do like jumps and stuff like that?
I've done jumping. We used to go around the world like fox hunting or with a fake fox, or just like riding around the world and like going to places you can only access on foot or horseback.
That's crazy. I mean,
to be a kid again.
Yeah, that stuff. I mean, that's hard to do, like the jumps and stuff, right? I would imagine.
Have you ridden a horse?
I've done like horseback riding.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if that counts really, but it's like they just go around.
I think if you clung on and you treated the horse nicely, that counts.
It was fun. Yeah. But I don't know. The horses like freak me out a little bit. Like I'm always like, what if I fall? It's like,
which is a decent respect for a live animal.
Sure. Yeah. Because like, I mean, they have a mind of their own. Like sometimes I used to see like one starts galloping fast and I'm like, oh shit. Like, Like, I don't know. There's no control over it. There's no off button.
That is so refreshing to hear, because I can't tell you the handful of horse riding shoots that I've done. The girls always show up and are so effing good. And the guys always show up like they lied about their special skills, and they're it'll be fine. And they just are like flopping around on these poor horses and like being total dangers. And I'm like,
they're like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, where does that confidence come from?
I know, because it's like you gotta be careful, because it's like Christopher Reeve, all that shit. It's like it's scary.
True.
It's special skills. That's another. People put all kinds of shit on their special skills: horseback riding, archery. It's It's like all this, and then you get called on it at some
Yeah.
point, and you're like, I smell bullshit, you know?
You ever been called on one? Has your commercial agent ever been really mad at you? Like, you said you could play pickleball.
No, I don't think I have been called on one. No, because I have played pickleball, so I guess I could put that. I can add that now in my special skills. No, I've never been called on one. I don't think. Like even like dialect, like people put all the dialects they can do. I don't do that because I'm like, no, I'm like I can do. I'm from New Jersey, so I can do like New York and like I can attempt a Boston kind of thing. But it's like I'm not. No, I'm not doing no British accent or whatever. It's like I'm not going to even attempt like that audition. Forget it.
Yeah.
It's like there's a million other people that can do it better. So yeah, I don't lie on there because like you could get busted. I don't know. I mean, not that they're gonna. You just don't book the part or whatever. So you were mentioning Back to the Future. You were mentioning you used my restroom and you noticed the flux capacitor. The drawing of the flux capacitor.
And now there's a hoverboard, in your studio.
Yeah, exactly. Those are that's my favorite movie, Back to the Future.
Is it?
Of all time, yeah.
I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be, but why?
I watched the first one, the original, as a kid. It came out in '85, so I was probably like 4 or 5 when it came out, and then I saw it. I didn't see it in the theater or anything like that, but I saw it like on like HBO or something like that, and I was like, this movie is amazing. Like this has everything. Like as an actor, filmmaker, I was like, it has comedy, it has sci-fi, it has adventure, action, time traveling, some dramatic moments. Like it literally covers like everything except for like horror, maybe, but like I don't know. Like it's a perfect script. It's a perfect movie, the first one, and I don't know, like Michael J. Fox, the casting is awesome, and then you read about like how like the movie almost didn't come together. Like it's an amazing like feat that like it worked and it made all this money and it's just great. I don't know.
And considering how many times it got rejected, it's like there's absolute crap that gets passed and there's absolute gold that gets passed on.
Right.
And it's just like who's looking at it and giving the thumbs up or thumbs down? There's no rhyme or reason.
I know. And it's like you think like Eric Stoltz was the original Marty. It's like it wouldn't have worked, I think, if he was in it, and that's why they changed. But like, like that, if no one had stepped up and been like, hey, he's not working, and they just did it, it's like it wouldn't have been, that's the
it would have
success that
changed
it was,
the progression of time.
Exactly. And it's like meta. It's like, oh my God, time and all this shit. Like
the choices you make influence the future.
Yep. So I don't know. There's a lot of deep thoughts in it. I think it's very deep, but it's also, a funny movie. It's great. It's perfect. And then I put the flux capacitor in my bathroom because there's the moment in the movie where it's like he hangs it above the toilet or whatever, and he falls and
hits his head.
So no one's ever really gotten that like has come over.
That it's there specifically.
Yeah. It's above the toilet in my bathroom.
It might give you a really good idea.
It might. Yeah, I might fall off the toilet one day. I don't know. But no one's ever like noticed it really. So thank you for noticing it.
I think my antenna's up now that I've recently immersed myself in it.
Yeah, people just like they just walk by it and they're like, oh, what is that?
So was it a drawing you did in your?
Yeah, it's like I remember my ex-wife when I had met her, she had never seen Back to the Future. She had never seen it.
It was a sign.
It was a sign, yes. And then there was back when they had like Back to the Future 2 Day when like it was 2015 or whatever, the future was finally here. They had a screening of all 3 of them at the ArcLight or whatever. And I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And I was like, I got tickets and I was like, hey, you're going to, I told my ex-wife, like, you got to come, you got to see the movie. Like, especially if we're going to get married or whatever, right? So,
So this is before you got married.
Before I think we were engaged or about to get engaged or whatever. But she had never seen Back to the Future. And I was like, all right, perfect. You'll see it at ArcLight. It's the best theater or whatever. So I buy the tickets and she was working in Santa Monica at the time. And we go, like the first one started at like, 7 or 6 or whatever. So I get there. She's going to meet me there. She's running late because she's coming from Santa Monica. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, super late. She gets there about 20, 25 minutes. The movie had already started. Into the movie.
Oh,
she sits down. She's like, I'm sorry. She's like, what did I miss? And
I'm
like about
setups.
30 years. I was like, I was like, it didn't even matter at this point.
Everything that's going to get called back in the entire second movie.
And then I think I tried to show it to her at home here once, and then and she just fell asleep. And now we're divorced. So there was a sign.
You got to care about what your person cares about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was my attempt at having her watch that at one point. But I don't know. I'm going to take a moment to just talk about our sponsor real quick before I forget to do this. BlueChew. Do you know what BlueChew is?
No.
Okay. BlueChew is it's a sildenafil tablet for the men who have erection problems. Pretty much, that's our sponsor.
And also can't chew properly.
It's a chewable tablet. So it's like a Viagra sort of, but it's the same ingredients as Levitra and Viagra. BlueChew tablets are made in the USA. It's a chewable tablet, so it makes it fun. Instead of just swallowing the pill, you can chew it.
Like a Flintstone gummy.
Like a Flintstone gummy, exactly. The best part is it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. You can take them anytime, day or night. Plan ahead. Be ready whenever the opportunity arises. So, you're going to want to see some BlueChew. That way it makes your weekend more active. We got a special deal for our listeners. Try BlueChew free when you use our promo code BASSHOLE at checkout. You're going to pay just $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code BASSHOLE to receive your first month free. And we're going to thank BlueChew for sponsoring the podcast. So get it while it's free for the first month. Promo code BASSHOLE. All right.
I'm glad they sponsor you.
They sponsor us.
That's cool of them.
We love them. Yes, BlueChew's everything to me.
Oh, you're wearing the hat. I didn't even see that.
I'm wearing the hat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Enough of that.
I don't know. If I had BlueChew sponsor me, that would say not a lot about my ability to get guys excited.
I know. I mean, it's like this is our first sponsor, and I'm like, okay, now of course we have like erection problems. We'll take it, sure. All right, fine. It's it's better than herpes, I guess, or whatever.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
right,
true.
right, exactly. Yeah, and then I'm hoping to get an alcohol sponsor, but I don't know if that would go well with the BlueChew. They say not to
kind
drink.
of counteracts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's take one or the other. Yeah. All right. Well, this is the Basshole Show, and I want to ask you about a time that you may have been an asshole. It could be something in the past, something you did last week. Maybe you are one right now, and you're proud of it. Anything you feel comfortable sharing on the podcast.
Well, since Halloween is coming up,
That's
I feel
right.
like it's appropriate time to share a Halloween story. I was just beginning to date someone who was sober, and in my 20s, I didn't understand really what that meant. And I got, I was getting off work late, and I had a plan that he was going to come over. I'd be in costume, and we'd go to this Halloween party together. And I'd already been feeling like some red flags about him. So I get home to change, and he's already waiting for me. And I'm pissed that he didn't understand first my message about what time we were meeting. I'm like, great, you already don't listen to me.
Right.
Then number two, he was wearing a costume that was not the one we had agreed upon for being cute as a couple
you guys
going
would do
together.
A couple's costume you agreed on.
Sort of loosely, yeah. And
okay.
instead he showed up in kind of a silly one, which I love silly costumes. I think I was just mad that we had talked about this, and
Right.
suddenly it was like,
there was a plan.
Okay, yeah, there was a plan. So I was like, all right, 2 strikes. We go to the party, and that number 3 was I start putting my costume on, and he's like, oh, you're wearing that one? And I was like, who the fuck are you to be calling me out on my costume? You should be like, hey, you look great. That's
Right.
the end of it. So
Yeah.
I think these were already off to a rocky start.
All right.
We go to the Halloween party. He won't dance with me. He just sits down and goes on his phone. And so I'm like, fuck it. Okay, I'm going to start dancing and have fun. And I
Right.
start ripping all the shots and Red Bull, vodka, whatever's on the table.
Yeah.
It looks like a college party. And I'm just taking all the drinks, getting shit faced and dancing. And he's sitting there and he is getting pissed, but I don't know that.
Right.
I'm just like a drunken mess. So by the end of the night, he has to take me home, and I'm just absolutely shit faced and being an asshole.
And he's completely sober.
He's
Yeah.
dead sober at this
Right.
point. And so
And you had no idea he was a sober individual?
I knew he
You
was
did.
sober,
Yeah.
but I thought he was being a jerk. And so I was like, okay, you had your chance. I've been asking you to dance with me all night,
Right.
and you're not. So okay, I'm gonna have fun. And
How many dates was this? Was this
it was probably 4 or 5.
okay, so it was new. Yeah.
It was definitely new. I
Yeah.
thought it was strong feelings, and it was maybe intense in the wrong way.
Right. Okay. What were the couple costume that you agreed on? Do you remember?
I think we were gonna be. I had my hair colored in a way that people kept saying Mila Jovovich from Fifth Element.
Okay.
So I had gotten a costume ready to be that, and I think he was going to be like Bruce Willis or something.
Oh, right. Okay, I remember that movie. Yeah.
And then in the end, when he showed up in a different costume, I was like, all right, well, then I'm going to wear my cat suit that I wanted to wear anyway and be, what's her name? Scarlett Johansson in Black Widow.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
Black Widow.
what did he dress up as instead? Do you remember?
I want to say it involved a chicken.
I'm just picturing like one of those yellow rubber chicken costumes. Or something
like
showing up.
full feather.
Yeah, so he looks ridiculous, and then you get all sexy in this Scarlett Johansson leather outfit or whatever. So then he's jealous at this party, probably that you're not paying attention to him and stuff. Halloween is a tense dating holiday.
I think most holidays are like Valentine's Day.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was dating my ex-wife, we went to New York. We did long distance. She was living in New York at the time. So we went to I spent Halloween in New York, and we were going to some party, and we were gonna do a couple's costume. And I guess we decided I was going to be Bob Ross, the painter.
Yes.
And she was going to be the tree that I'm painting.
Happy little tree.
Yeah, the happy little tree. But then she became like a sexy little tree or whatever. Like anyway, I had the wig and I had like the easel with the paint, and the paintbrush and a smock or whatever. And then we were at her work. The party was at 8:00 at night, and like we're at her work in Manhattan, and like she's building this costume like an hour before we got to go to this party, and like it's not ready. She has no idea like what she wants to be the tree, but she has no idea like how that's gonna happen. She has like something in her mind, but like she didn't plan it out properly. So she's building this tree thing. Like she was gonna put like leaves in her hair, and like on her. And
no
stuff
idea
like
of
that.
how long that's gonna take.
Right, and she's like trying to sew like this thing together and like pin things, and like I'm like ready to go, like like a dude usually is, but but now I'm like sitting in her office and like it's after hours and she's getting frustrated, but I'm like, hon, let's just go, like just put a couple leaves. She's like, no, like this is like she got very like angry and like very specific about how this is gonna look. And she did that for like almost like an hour and a half putting this thing together. I just sat there and like waited.
Oh my God. And then the fun sucked out of it.
And then we were like late to the party.
Yeah. And she's stressed and not in a good mood.
And then she started drinking wine. And then it's like, and then it was like a whole fucking mess. And then like, we had like we got one picture where it was like, hey, and like it looked like, oh, the night was amazing, but it was really kind of like a disaster, And it was just like, oh man, Halloween. Like I haven't dressed up in a couple of years.
I hate that because I can feel that situation. So go ahead.
Yeah, when you're in a relationship, I think you dress up more often, like a couple's costume or whatever.
I mean, we haven't really, me and my boyfriend haven't really in the past couple of years, but like sometimes I get like a fun idea and I'm like, please get on board because I want to have fun. Right. And like, I'd really like you to be a part of it. So like this year, he said something about like wanting to see me in a dirndl. And I was like, then will you be my cow?
A dirndl.
A dirndl. I forget what it's the German like milkmaid Oktoberfest thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, will you be my cow? Because he would never in a million years say yes to that. And he was like, thankfully he had had a few drinks and he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so the next day I was like, I'm holding you to that, ordering your cow shirt right now.
Right.
But like, I want you to want to do it too, just because I'm having fun with it.
But that's great though. Like when someone like a partner's like, yeah,
forces you,
I'll wear whatever, whatever. Like they're the game for being like silly and stuff, which is a big important part of I think a relationship. But I mean the last time I dressed up, I was like, I think the last costume I did with my ex was like she was Wednesday and I was Pugsley.
Oh, that's cute.
And then I called myself Dugsley instead.
Do you still have the shirt? Is there an improv Halloween party?
Oh, there is actually.
You should wear it.
The improv is having one.
Dugsley.
Dugsley. Yeah, maybe I'll be that. I don't know.
Oh God damn it!
I don't know. Everything's like last minute. Like now, I feel like people just order the shit on Amazon. It comes the next day. They're like, I'll throw this on, whatever.
I know because we don't have time. It was fun making a costume.
The last time I had time to really enjoy and celebrate Halloween was pandemic.
Oh
I had so much free time. I had a garage at the time at the house I was living in. I built a haunted garage because there was like I felt like a kid because like there was nothing to do. You know? And we had a Halloween party. So like I did like smoke machine in the garage, and like we had like invisible wires that would make shit like move.
Oh, cool.
So like we had people come over, and I'm like, you got to enter through the garage, and then like we would open the door, and like there was a TV playing like crazy shit or whatever, and we had bats hanging and all this, and like people would walk through and things would fall on them and shit. So I was like. I was like, I'm never gonna do this again. Like, this is the only time I have time to do this.
Because people who put the effort into that are doing a real public service. You're really keeping the spirit alive.
I mean, you walk around some of these neighborhoods, like the Halloween decorations, like they have like 50 figurines on the lawn, and I'm like, this is intense. I'm like, this is like, how do you have the time to do this? I don't know. It's like a whole thing.
I know.
Yeah, people like build haunted houses you can go visit and stuff like that. Like,
thank God someone does it.
There's these real like hardcore Halloween-y people, I guess. You know? And I don't know. I mean, it's fun, but yeah, it's. I don't know. I think if you have a kid, I think that's where I see you getting into that shit again, like spending time decorating and all that
Making
stuff.
it fun for them. Yeah, we're like, we have no one to make it fun for. We can't even make it fun for ourselves.
Exactly.
We're sad adults now
I know.
who probably need it most.
The most I'll get is like a costume for one of my dogs or something. Reluctantly put it on them, and that
brings me joy.
They're gonna like rip it off and not want it on there. Yeah. No, it's a good asshole story though. Yeah, because it's I mean, you got a little tipsy, and he didn't appreciate it.
I tried to tell it once before, and people just ripped me apart because they're like, "How insensitive of you to get drunk in front of him when he's trying to maintain his sobriety." And I'm like, I explained to you already. We're both in the wrong. We're both adults making poor decisions.
That is difficult though. Like I don't know if you're sober or anything, but if you're with someone that's sober and you're not, if you choose not to drink around them to trigger them or whatever,
right?
Either drink or whatever, get them pissed off or whatever. Yeah, it's a touchy thing. I think I think
it's case by case scenario. Yeah. There's so many people who are comfortable with their sobriety, and some people who are like, something could trigger them.
Some people could not. Yeah, I remember when I first moved here. I was house sitting for some actress. I'm not going to say who it was, but her boyfriend,
Shmila Bunis.
Her boyfriend was sober, and I was probably like 24 or something like this at the time, and she had a pool and all this stuff, and we, I had like a couple. She's like, you have a couple friends over, whatever, and we had a couple people. We had like some beers and whatever.
Did one get left behind?
Well, we cleaned up and stuff, of course, but like we put it in the trash can or the recycling thing or whatever, right? No. And then she was like, "Oh, you guys drank while you were here or whatever? Like you left the beer and the bottles in the recycling can?" I was like,
"Oh no!"
I was like, "Yeah, we did." And she's like, "My boyfriend found them, and then he wanted to go drink
because the smell.
I don't know. Either that or he just saw a can of Bud Light or whatever, and he was like, I gotta go get a beer or whatever. I don't know. So then she was pissed off and shit. I was like. That's a little extreme.
It does seem like not taking responsibility for your own.
But I was like, all right. So now I just know, all right, take if you're gonna, I just take the
pack
trash.
Out your trash.
I put the trash in my car and drive down to the next house
like
and
a
throw it in the
campsite.
Yep. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
You couldn't have known.
No, I had no idea. It's did the guy fall off the wagon because I left a beer can in the trash can?
And you would feel so bad, but also you're 24, 25.
Yeah,
you said it's we have to learn as well what it means. If we haven't been through it, we want to be respectful, but there are certain things that till you've been through it, you just don't know what it's like.
You have no idea, and it's it's case by case, and I'm definitely more cognizant of it now. It's if I have a couple sober friends, and I'm always like, all right, I'm not going to drink around them or whatever. It's like they want to go get coffee or
fine.
They've even wanted to go to a bar, and I'm like, I'm not going to the bar with you. It's I don't want to, because I might get something, and then I don't want to be the one held responsible for causing something happening. So you just got it's case by case. You gotta think about it. All right. So what else do you have going on? What's coming up? What shows are you doing?
I started running a pony club show at the Comedy Store.
That's what I want to talk about. I have that here. I have that here, and I missed over it for some reason. The Pony Club show at the Comedy Store coming up October 20th.
Wow. Yes. Yeah, your visual memory is great for seeing a flyer flash by.
Yes, I store it all in my head. Yeah. So how's that going? Is this what number show is this?
It's going well. This is the only the third one.
Okay.
I don't get regular monthly dates for it, but I don't put too much pressure on it. I just wanted a way to there's only limited spots at the clubs throughout town, and it's really no one's fault. Like, that's just a numbers thing. So it's my way of like giving friends who've been so good to me or just kind to me, who I think are talented, any number of reasons they're in my pony club, and I want to give them a night where they're an insider at the store, even if they don't normally get to play there.
Yeah, that's great, because I mean it's a hard room to get into if you're a newer comic, or even an older comic. Sometimes it's a comedy store, so it's hard to get in there. I mean, any spot you can get up there is a grateful situation.
Yeah, I try to give it only to comics who are like ready to show off. Like if someone should see them and be like, oh my God, they're amazing, great, glad to have assisted and got them in there. But I also will usually put on like one or two short 5 minutes whose debut at the Comedy Store it is, just to give them a little excitement of like, people gave us our first spot somewhere that we were like,
and they can make it a whole night, and it's super exciting. I still remember my first spot up there when I did. Yeah, I do. Yeah, because it was it was Vargas's show, Vargas Mason.
Oh yeah,
the D's Nuts show back in the day or whatever. And I remember it was in the belly room. He had it at that time. And I remember, I had to follow Eliza Schlesinger. Like she popped in, and I was gonna go, but then she was like, he's like, she's gonna go up real quick. I'm like, you go after. I was like, all right. Then I was like, fuck. I'm like, fuck.
Your first time at the store, and you're you're after Eliza.
But I remember, like it was yesterday. I was like, fuck, all right. But it ended up going well because she's amazing. So she set me up pretty good. So I was like, perfect. But yeah, you never know what's gonna happen there. You never know who's gonna drop in and who you might be performing before or after. It's stressful, but it's fun.
Yeah. Plus,
exciting.
When you're in producer mode, sometimes it like shakes you out of performing mode a little bit, and you're like, I'm not sure I'm going to have my best set. But
how do you like producing?
I love it because I think organization is more rewarding when there's like, I'm putting work in and getting an output that's very clear.
It is rewarding. I do like it, but like even last night at like my show, it's like I don't think about, like, I don't even think about what I'm doing on stage until I step on the stage. Sometimes I like, as soon as I look at like 3 words and I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I just go, and it's like,
it's like if this were a showcase for us, it's not exactly setting us up the best. I'm in my most stressed type A mentality right now.
Everything else is more important than whatever you're going to do up there for the 5 minutes or whatever you're doing. It's like, who's here? I mean, especially my show, it's a fucking shit show.
That's why I feel it's like an act of service. You're giving something to the community. You're putting something out there because of how many people have made shows for us to be on. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I want people to have fun. And it's like, if it comes down to that, like sacrificing yourself, at your own show, then so be it, I guess.
I'm the pony that gets put down.
There you go. Now, Pony Club, why'd you call it that? Is it because of your horse love of horses or ponies or whatnot?
Yeah, I've been trying to incorporate the horses for the longest time, thinking like, maybe I'll get horse-related hosting opportunities or like sponsorships or something.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I thought I could go around the country, and if I tour and like, have people being like, come ride our horses. And then from my few horse clips that have gotten any sort of traction, it's turned out horse people are kind of a 50-50 split of have a sense of humor or are total bitches. And I was like,
I can see that. Someone used to tell me like, never trust a horse girl or something and I was like, what does that mean? like girls that own horses, like, don't trust. I was like,
because we get our way
I don't
somehow
know, but
or
like,
other.
you're like I think you're the third person, the horse girl that I've known. Like, one of my ex-girlfriends owned a horse at one time, and then someone else, Julie at the Improv had a horse. She's a horse girl. So yeah, I'm like, oh, these people have been lovely. I don't know what you're talking about. They care for the horses. That's a hard animal to take care of,
But I think it taught us some things maybe about treating people that like might have been mistaken. Just that like, if you with enough sheer force, you can bend something to your will.
Yeah, I mean, it's like why not? Like, I don't know, the horse girl thing. Sometimes they get a bad rap, I think. But
sometimes they get exactly the right rap.
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, that's a good idea of like, have you done like private gigs at like like an equestrian center or something like that, or like would they host like a comedy kind of night like for for horse lovers?
So, I mean, the kind of the snag is like the demographics in the horse community vary widely.
Yeah.
You can, have some really like lovely kind of country folk, or you can have like really like highbrow, hunter jumper folk, and they can be a little scarier to perform for because it's like kind of like performing on the west side for like it's Santa Monicans, and you're just you are a different culture than me. I don't know if you're gonna get any of my jokes about being broke.
Yeah, right. It's weird. It's weird because I've done I did like a gig at a country club once.
Oh whatever, yeah, how was that?
That was weird too. It was like it was on the west side. So it's like it's a different era of like crowd where it's like they're not going to understand this or that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or if they're on the older side, maybe they feel badly laughing, thinking they're laughing at you. And you're like, no, I'm making fun of myself.
Exactly. Yeah. And then if you try to talk to them, they're scared. It's like,
the riffraff.
It's a whole thing. It's interesting though. Yeah. It's like that. And like sometimes like a very young crowd, like I've done like they're like 20-year-olds or whatever. Like that's also weird. Like especially
I hate when they don't get you. They think you're weird.
Especially because like the stuff I do now, it's like relationship stuff. Or like I'm an adult.
They haven't been through it.
They don't want to hear that shit at all. It's like they don't want to hear about my divorce or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like they don't want to hear any of that stuff. So it's like I'm like I don't know if I have any material for these people. Then you just talk to them. It's like I don't know.
It feels like I'm lecturing you in an after school program.
I'm gonna learn more about you than you want to know about me. It's like,
they call that scared straight.
Exactly. All right. Well, this has been great, Maxie. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Super
of course.
fun.
So glad that you came in here. And your next show, the Pony Club, is October 20th at the Comedy Store. People can get tickets at the Comedy Store website, I'm guessing.
They sure can, or they can follow me and keep up to date on the next shows.
Perfect. Follow Maxie, you guys, at what is it, Mad Maxie?
Mad Maxie, MADDMAXI.
Perfect. And anything else you want to plug? Anything else going on?
No. Just be a friend. Come out, support the shows. Thanks so much.
Yeah, be a friend to Maxie because she's super funny, and you guys are gonna have a good time if you go see her live show. All right, Maxie, thanks for coming in, guys. Don't forget to follow the podcast, subscribe, all that good stuff, and remember, don't be a basshole. But if you are, laugh about it. Ciao.
You've been listening to I'm a Basshole with Doug Bass. Follow us on Instagram at Basshole Show. Think you deserve to be on the show? Email us at contact@bassholeshow.com and visit our website at www.bassholeshow.com and get the latest information. Subscribe on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast fix. And don't miss the full videos on YouTube. Remember, don't be a basshole, but if you are, laugh about it. We'll see you next time.